Hello everyone, I'm Gandair of the gaming clan, Vato clan, and one of the commentators for the LoLPro Dominion Showdown. You guys want to be better at Dominion yourselves? Maybe you want to dip into the game mode and you're not really sure where to start? Well, guess what? LoLPro.com has guides that can get you started off on the right foot. Go to LoLPro.com, click on the Pro Guides section, go ahead and scroll down a little bit here, and you can see lots of different guides for many different champions, specifically for the Dominion map. There's an Evelyn guide over here by Painkiller. You see an Ezreal guide by Buddha Rice. There's even a Mordekaiser guide by Sauron. And a Lulu guide by Mad Supportal. Mad Supportal, who has a 100% win rate with Lulu in competition. Man, that guy eats counterbans like crazy. You want your Lulu to get counterbanned like that? Well, I'll tell you what. You can go here, you can click on the Pro Guide section, you can go down, and click on Lulu. There's a build guide here for you. You can give it a look through. But if you want to read all the rest of it, you're going to have to go to LoLPro.com and see for yourself. Multiple pages. When you get down to the bottom of the page, click on Next. It'll take you to the next page of the guide, and you too can dominate in Dominion. Big thank you to LoLPro.com for putting on the LoLPro Dominion Showdown. Okay, we have both teams in the lobby. We are just gonna. They need to reorder so that they have their picks and bans in the right order, and then we will kick over to the champion select screen and bring you this game 2 of the LoLPro Dominion Showdown round of 64. I'm Gandair, and my co-commentator is Bird, L3IRD. There is a $500 prize pool for this event. Cash prizes, $250 for first, $150 for second, and $100 for third. Big thank you to LoLPro, Leaguepedia, Cursed, and Reign of Gaming for putting this together this week. We had 57 teams show up. I believe that was the actual count, which is really exciting to see. And we'll be getting on with this in just a moment. Looks like we have everyone in the correct spot now. Just confirming it with them, and then we will get over to the picks and bans for this game 2. You remember in game 1, Sofanda Cox lost a very close game where the clock got stalled out at 6-2 Nexus health near the end of the game. I'm not going to say who won or lost because it will become apparent once we go into the next lobby, because the teams get switched around in a multiple game series, whereas last time Sofanda Cox's team had the first pick, first ban. That is going to switch now because of Amputease having picked up that. So it moves the two guys around from one side to the other. And if Amputease wins this, then they will advance to the next round. And if not, we will go on to a game 3.
Yeah, I think we're all good and ready to go. Sorry about that little bit delay. And we have Sofanda Cox, like you said, blue side, the Amputease on the purple/red side. I'm thinking, because I was highlighting for Sofanda Cox, their great shield comp ability from game number 1. Will they run it again? I mean, people were talking about it in the chat room, inside the team chat, sorry. Yeah. Sofanda Cox, they can't really run anything else other than 80 Malasar bottom. I don't know if that's true, but we're about to get this one on the road. The first 3 bans coming out, Nidalee, Kassadin, and Jayce coming for the teams of Amputease and Sofanda Cox. We do have the Kha'Zix ban. It's going to be pretty similar in bans. Really quickly, I guess if you want to go in the blind pick and you pick Kassadin as a Dominion pick, I think the majority of the pro Dominion crowd would, well, morally not, well, they'll dislike you, unfortunately.
Yeah, Kassadin's a pretty rough character to deal with. We haven't fully explored him post the map-specific changes that have been made. It's still very early on in that, and we haven't really investigated them too much, but Kassadin, his ability to chase and escape are very good. And he has a silence that's a brutally long silence too, and he has a slow on top of that. It's just ugly. Man, he can just appear over everything. Feels like he can appear over any wall. He used to be able to jump the Nexus pit right outside the base. I'm glad they changed that. That was a little scary. And we're seeing Nidalee, Jayce, Zyra, Kha'Zix, and Wukong rounding out the bans. And we'll see who they end up picking first. I'm going to briefly go over the bans real quick, actually, while we're hanging on Science to lock in for his team. Nidalee has really good poke, long range. You have to dive through it to get to her. Jayce's got good poke. He has good poke and good melee ability. Zyra, lots of AoE, good zoning ability. Kha'Zix, great assassin, similar to Kassadin, but not quite as rift-walky, if that makes any sense. Someone gets that. And Wukong, his initiation's amazing. Armor reduction, AoE airborne, both good things to bring to the table.
It's surprising to see Wukong actually banned up from, oh no, that's Sofanda Cox. Sofanda Cox did not like that Wukong in game number 1. It was just one of those detrimental things that tried to get him into the win, but they didn't really get the win off of that one, possibly. So, you know, Wukong going to be banned out. It's a really strong pick. Definitely one of those picks you can pick up first for blue side, so really cool to see that denied. While on the other hand, we do have Science to be able to pick up the Elise. Elise, again, very strong pick. Can repel over, well, AoE ult, repel over any stuns, any CCs, and it's very, very good to capture down onto any squishy targets, which we do see on the other side.
I am seeing a Rammus pick being picked by Strogan. I know Strogan's a very good Rammus player. There's not a lot of people that mained or played a lot of Rammus in Dominion, because at very early in Dominion's history, Rammus was the most powerful character in the game. Just easily the most powerful character. Extraordinary mobility and durability, and he was just an absolute nightmare to deal with. As time went on and people started to build a little bit more tanky, it started being a little bit easier to withstand Rammus's shenanigans. And as people learned more about the map, they were able to defeat those bat caps and pushes. Rammus is an amazing tank, and I'm really glad to see him be locked in this game, because his high durability, his taunt, airborne. The only flaw I can find with Rammus is that he needs direct line of effect to engage. You have to be able to drive right on up to your opponent, get out of your car, stop, park, taunt them, and if there's minions or anything else in the way, you're not going to be able to connect the way you want to. So positioning is absolutely vital for engaging as Rammus. And if you know that, you can defeat it.
And especially with a map where you don't take flash to gauge in onto the team, you're going to have to really watch out where your positioning is. So I have to really refocus that point that Gandair just said. So really interesting pick. It's a really strong pick. Back in the day when Akali was picked up number 1, you had Azriel pick up, which is still a viable pick. And while Poppy back in the day, it was a very, very strong pick. But Shogun, going to show off the Rammus, going to show off that speed, and blaze it down with the cannonball.
I'm liking some of the picks I'm seeing on the other side. I'm seeing Brand. Brand's a great pick in Dominion because he forces a lot of positioning from the enemy team. You do not want to get close together because you do not want to chain Pyroclasm. You do not want to get close together because you don't want to take AoE flag damage. You don't want to get close together because you don't want to take Pillar of Flame damage. Brand, your entire team becomes whatever you do, don't stand next to other people, because that's just more opportunities for Brand to deal more damage because of chaining his conflagration and Pyroclasm. Now, Brand, though, is set up very effectively by Orianna, Leona, and Jarvan. Jarvan being able to put down the Cataclysm. And see, there's the trade. Generic on Brand. He's a great Brand player. This is going to be really exciting to see. However, Brand and Orianna still, once again, not a lot of melee damage.
Yeah, it's going to be dependent on Fancy Wolf this time, and, well, technically Cersio does give out that Sunlight passive, so we'll see how that is going to be effective for the team of Sofanda Cox. Pretty much, we'll see what we'll talk about the team comps in a second. On the other hand, we do have that Sona buy yet again locked in. And lastly, but not leastly, we do have that Pantheon locked up. We talked about global ults. Pantheon still a very, very big nuisance with this Grand Skyfall. Usually we see it in the main world used for just point denials or point captures. So it's really interesting to see, but hopefully we'll see some good action coming up from Meta Fenrir on that Pantheon.
Another important part about Pantheon being picked is that as we go into the 3-minute spectator delay, an important thing to note about Pantheon is that with Revive, you have this option for sort of a wake-up Skyfall. You pop the Revive, you move into range, and then you can drop down on the windmill. So he is great at capitalizing on points that suddenly become open or points that suddenly need to be defended. Pantheon is really useful in that regard. And just a general gameplay note to people out there that use Pantheon, sometimes you don't want to drop straight into the fight. In Dominion, if there's an engagement on the point, don't necessarily drop in on that point. Some of the scariest Pantheon play I've ever seen in Dominion is when you will Grand Skyfall in their retreat path in the Fog of War. And when they break off from that point, you just snipe them down with Spear Shot as they're going away, and then sweep up to that point, or sweep over to Drill or Refinery, whichever one's closer. So that you can see some really scary play with Pantheon because of the way that this map is designed. The retreat paths are usually, there's that point right off of the windmill to the right, the approach from the bottom where you come up from where the speed relics are. Mm-hmm. And if you drop in over there, where do they go? They either have to retreat through the enemy team, which are your allies, they have to retreat through the people they don't want to retreat through, they have to retreat through you, or they have to break up straight north to behind the point and then hope they have some sort of ability that will help them get out, whether a dash or a blink or some type of effect.
Yeah, definitely, and it's a very cool thing. Again, mobility, we've honed in on that that word for Dominion. It is a really cool thing to see coming out from both Repel, coming out from Lease, but also with that Pantheon. So very cool to see everybody coming into this one over there. Congrats, or thank you again for everybody who's watching off on the Curse Entertainment Twitch stream. Do spread out the hype, spread out the word on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google+, Kazaa, Xanga, all that social media web. MySpace, yeah. Keep it up. I don't know, is MySpace still alive?
Yeah, I think they just relaunched their site. I think they did a overhaul of the main page and stuff. They're still out there.
But yeah, definitely keep up with the social media webs. Keep on spreading out the word. This is day 1. Day 2 will happen tomorrow. But again, round of 64 action. Amputease is going to be on the blue side. Sofanda Cox on that purple/red side. Game number 2, Gandair. What do you expect team comp-wise? It's looking like Sofanda Cox is kind of going in on the same team.
Sofanda Cox has this. I mean, they have the AP, but they don't really have a lot of attack damage. I mean, yes, Jarvan has a lot of it. I know people love to point out that, well, you say they don't have attack damage, but they have Jarvan. Jarvan does a lot of attack damage, but they're more weighted towards AP if you just look between Leona, Brand, and Orianna. And I feel like they didn't respond to that terribly well in the last game, and that's what ended up costing them the victory. I think that if they get into the counter building a little bit more, then things are going to be a lot better for them.
Yep, and I feel like on the other hand for Amputease, they're running about the same comp as well. I mean, you had that Vi rocking in, you had that tank that can get the disable onto one of the major carries with that Rammus on the Punctured Tongue. But you also have dual power now. You have this AoE ult that's also very supporty, but gets a very, very good engage for the team. Although there's not a lot of just close-in damage that comes out to play for Amputease other than Vi, we'll see how that will play out. But I feel like Amputease is running the pretty much the same comp as they did at game number 1, although they have a little bit more utility this time with that Sona going to be played by dual power this time.
I think we're going to be seeing Elise down in the bottom lane. Metal Fenrir plays some bottom lane, but I don't think he plays bottom lane Pantheon. And Noob V3 does bottom lane as well, so I expect we'll see Noob V3 Elise down there, which up at the top part of the map, that puts Vi and Rammus together. Now, with the armor reduction from Vi and Rammus, that's going to really open up a huge avenue for Pantheon to deliver tons of damage.
But again, it's all about the follow-up over there, and Amputease to show that up barely at the end of everything in game number 1. Sofanda Cox, on the other hand, game number 2, they have to come back from this one, get that win, and bring it back to a revert game. We'll see how this will happen. In round 64 action for the LoLPro Dominion Showdown, and I think you're right. I think it's going to be new V3 versus Malzahar again. Nerdaka is going to be just rocking out that Malzahar again. 80 Malzahar. Did it really work out for them, you think?
80 Malzahar against Syndra. I got the privilege of seeing Syndra throw Malzahar's own Voidling at him, which is always amusing. And it's just I feel like that comes down to just the matchup. Syndra has a lot more range over Malz. I mean, she can't deliver it as consistently as Malz, but she can hang out outside of Voidling range, and she can throw the Voidling, which that's the big part. You just get rid of the Voidling, and you're not taking that damage that AD Mal's can do because he's not able to deliver it because it's delivered through the Voidling. Something that people were asking about, I'm told they were asking the chat, I don't have it open right now, is that they were asking about the respawn timers. I believe it's for every 100 Nexus health that the difference is between people. It changes the respawn timers for whichever team is losing slightly. So it shaves a couple seconds off if there's a significant Nexus health deficit.
Yeah, and we did see that over there with that last game, but we're going to start up on this one. Again, if you guys are in the chat room for the Kassadin Network Twitch chat, if you have questions about Dominion, I mean, you can ask us as well, but there are a lot of Dominion just veterans, pros, Yes Man Blam, and all the people over there. I want to thank them for answering all the questions, keeping up the hype over there while we have this windmill fight going to be starting up yet again. No one's going to go try to deny each other off the point. We're going to see the capture for capture for capture.
A little bit of poke back and forth. We'll see who and where they decide to engage. Usually you do a lot of back and forth poke, you see who you can get low, and then you try and jump on that one person, burst them down quickly and turn it into a 3v4, and then try and execute the rest of the fight before the revive gets them back to the point. And Sona, in this initial engagement, is really good at poke, although she's very mana hungry.
Yeah, we'll see how Steel Power consistently stay up. She does have that Tear of the Goddess, going to be able to resustain for a little bit, but it's not going to be good enough. And also the cooldowns at level 3, not the strongest, so we'll see how that will work out as well. Metal Fear getting poked in, we're going to start it up.
And Generic coming around from the back, able to get a lot of damage in. Exhaust on Fancy Wolf, Metal Fenrir low on health. Looks like they're going to turn their attention towards Strogan next. Puncturing Taunt on Orianna, and Orianna is going to be able to retreat. Zenith Blade through to Science, and it's just dual power by himself. Can he delay long enough? I'm not sure. There's 2 stuns between Generic and Cercio. If they can connect, there's 1 and 2, and Sona gets sent back to the summoner platform. Metal Fenrir and Strogan catching up to the top point, and they are able to keep it neutral for now.
Yeah, Metal Fenrir are going to go crush onto Brand, but Brand's going to get a round off of that one. Metal Fenrir just delaying out just for a little bit longer, but the revive down, it's not going to be enough. Science going to go caught in, going to get hit by the Pillar Flame, and it is going to be Fancy Wolf with the help of Kha'Zix, going to be able to pick up that kill, and the windmill point's going to be less contested about, and going to be captured down from Sofanda Cox.
And Rammus very wisely there, retreating from the point. If you're playing Dominion, guys, do not 1v4 on a point. Just don't. Wait for your allies. Go back, buy, maybe gank bottom if you can, but don't dive into 1v4s like that. Rammus, good call there. He could have gone for a click to capture interrupt by trying to activate the point and delayed it out for a couple more seconds, but then he would have died in the process, given up a little bit of gold, and then not been able to get back active on the map as quickly. Kills in this game mode only give 100 gold. A creep wave in this game will give you 120. The points are far more important because capture your point gives you 150. Cataclysm from Jarvan.
Yeah, Generic going to get in. Great triple ult right there. Seriously, you're going to get a lot of damage and going to get help out to dual power. Science going to get knocked up, but it is going to be Fancy Wolf with the help of Kha'Zix yet again, picking up another kill. Dual power and Cersei, the supports are going to be battling. Cersei is going to win out that fight. I'm going to go say something about Leona. Will Rammus come right back in? No, he will not. Fancy Wolf going to go get delayed off the point, though. The Refinery is going to get copped up for the team of Sofanda Cox. I was going to say, though, Cersei playing the Leona has done such an amazing job, but the one thing I love about Leona in the windmill engagement, that passive that you get, the sunlight passive, just a lot of extra damage that you can get down. If you have something with the AoE igniter, and you do have that with all the fire coming out from Generic, so that's a really good combo as you're using in for Sofanda Cox.
And Malzahar barely able to get away in that bottom engagement. The silence on Rammus. Rammus was not able to deliver a puncturing taunt. Rammus was able to just... Malzahar was able to just walk away from Rammus. They're very, very close to being defeated, but Nerdox Malzahar able to escape. Now Jarvan coming down to break the point. At the windmill, things a little bit different. Brand's poke forcing people away from that top tower. Blaze is very powerful because people like to build health, they like to build durable, they like to have that extra hit points. And Brand later on in the game, combined with a Blackfire Torch, he will just slowly chip you down if you hang out trying to fight against him.
Yeah, we do see Strogan going to be able to pick up the relic. Going to go right back in. Going to try to get a capture onto one of the members of Sofanda Cox. Going to get seen by the ball. They get denied over at the bottom lane. There was a gank happening. What happened down there?
In the bottom lane, Malzahar and Jarvan swept down for Elise. Elise, with the revive, is going to be able to get back in time. And Science able to avoid the Solar Flare from Leona and not being tagged by the Zenith Blade either because the stun from Brand interrupted her movement. It was led correctly by Leona, however. And now Metal Fenrir's Pantheon in a bad situation. Is he going to be caught? Yes, the stun from Brand cleaned up by Jarvan.
Yeah, it was a really great stun. Again, Malzahar being a really big menace to Elise. Elise just revived up, but gonna get pushed in, and there's gonna be a lot of contention over this bottom lane as well. So a very, very key important thing as a Dominion player as well. Keeping that bottom lane alive, but pretty much even.
The silence did not connect that time, and Strogan was able to pick up the kill on Malzahar.
But yeah, we're gonna see how this will play out. Amputease is gonna have to reallocate some resources over that bottom lane. We're going to see how that will be figured out. While Sofanda Cox is going to go cover it over the bottom. Going to go try to go to the windmill. Overall, the action has been pretty consistent. Do you think Sofanda Cox has a major, bigger play to try to close out this game? Or do you think they're going to have to, try to push a 4-cap onto the team at Amputease?
I think if they continue to play solidly like they have been, they will be okay. Because for the moment, we really haven't started to see the Vi Rammus combo be effective in stacking any armor reduction. Fight breaking out middle of the map, Science stunned immediately. That crowd control really keeping Vi from being able to do anything. Stunned by dual power, but there's no real follow-up for it, unfortunately. That was just to try and stay alive. And now Strogan being defeated. Kill your way around the tank first, and then deal with him later. Very efficient engagement from Sofanda Cox. And now they are free to spread out and go for the refinery and go for the quarry.
Yeah, that fight went beautifully for Sofanda Cox. Yet again, just picking off one person off on the other, and unfortunately the team of Amputease can really capture it in on the team, and Newbie 3 is going to get captured down over by the Relic. So many capture points, so many captures coming out from this one, but get a lot of plays coming in from the team of Sofanda Cox.
Yeah, they've been really on their crowd control in regards to applying it to Vi in fights. When she wants to go in and get her damage stacked up on someone, she has not been able to deliver because of Brand and then because of Leona as well. Those two champions synchronizing very well and being able to continually apply the stuns by staggering them between each other. Strogan being chased away from the middle of the map. Bottom left point, the quarry is neutral. Pantheon is going to help recapture that along with dual power. Top point of the map, Strogan being chased away, and there's the stun into a Zenith Blade. Solar Flare used to stop Noob V3 temporarily, decides to continue pursuing Orianna. Noob V3, I'm not sure how I feel about that. What is your escape plan? Can he get away? I don't think that's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, Noob V3 switching up to the top lane. That was a very, very smart play. I feel like that is the call that is needed to be necessary. Unfortunately, for now, Metal Fenrir is going to go return back up to the mid lane. But truthfully, Rammus hasn't been able to get in onto any of the members of Sofanda Cox. We haven't seen Sona really collapse in to get that AoE all of Crescendo. So those are two big problems that are happening, and we're going to see this permanent switch up. Metal Fenrir are going to have to go bottom. We do have that new V3 going top.
Now, Metal Fenrir knows how to bottom lane. It's something he does a lot with Olaf, but Pantheon is not as optimal of a bottom laner. But it looks like they're going to need that longer range stun up at the top part of the map. Nerdok in a bad situation. Everything horrible happening to him at once. He is going to be defeated, and they're going to pick up this bottom point, which is the quest objective point, and that's going to give them a damage increase going into the next portion of the game. And on the other side of the map, however, they are going to lose their quarry in exchange for the Boneyard. The Boneyard, however, capturing that while it was the quest objective, does extra damage to enemies' Nexus health, and it gives them a damage bonus going into the next part of the game. It gives an extra 10% increased damage. Solar Flare does not connect at the top. Cercio not able to land that the way that he wanted to, and try to defend that point as best he could, even with the defensive garrison. 1v3, Leona was not able to make it. And Rammus is going to take the refinery, but they are still down a point. They have to get control of the third point before they can really start doing anything.
Yeah, Generic over there going to go block off at the claw. We do have the windmill and the refinery all captured up for the team of Amputease. But Sofanda Cox right now, top right, bottom right, they have a lot of defense coming into play. Although we do have an ability called Grand Skyfall. Will Meltafin use it to backcap or try to capture it in onto Generic?
Oh, the assault and battery coming out after the stun so that it couldn't be interrupted because of a shot being in the air. Good pyroclasm! Oh dear! Pantheon, I'm not sure about that timing. Bran was able to use that to his advantage and get a great bounce off of his ultimate. And dual power now being chased away. The Malefic Visions, nope, not going to be enough damage to defeat Sona.
A very, very unfortunate Grand Skyfall leads into a beautiful, beautiful Brand ultimate over there. Very, very smart play coming out from Generic. Also staying out alive at the end of it. Great job by the team really protecting that Brand and protecting Generic. Sergio has been a godlike person with that Leona, doing a great job just helping out the team, getting that sunlight down and getting that solar flare.
And Vine not connecting right away, but Pantheon laying the stun and exhaust on Nerdok, and they are able to evict him from the point. At the top, Strogan, defensive garrison and defensive ball curl activated at the top point. Looks like he's circling around. He wants to try to get into Ori, but not quite able to get there. However, he was able to delay long enough for Sona to arrive. Unfortunately, she cannot get close enough to Orianna because of the zoning from Brandon Jarvan. Hanging out down here in this lower part of the windmill really enables you to keep enemy players away from the members of your team and help them capture, because if they're able to get up just a little bit more than that, they can use their gap closers or skill shots to reach onto the point and interrupt people. Strogan looks like he has just barely secured the Storm Shield for his team. The Storm Shield, which gives you a damage shield, and it gives you a sort of spark-like static discharge lightning effect, where periodically it will charge up, and when you hit people, it will shoot for extra damage. Strogan circling around from the back, stunned by Leona, however.
Yeah, it's going to start it off, but Strogan's going to try to get out on Generic. That is the point that they want to get, so they can kill down onto the AoE damage, but they're playing it very defensively. They have the position to try to go over the windmill. I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to go contest on that. Battlefield are having trouble at bottom, but Strogan's going to get caught, and no, they're going to go try to cap this. We're just at the start of this fight.
Leona was able to use the Solar Flare to interrupt Vi from capturing the point, and Sergio and Generic a little bit far away right now. There's a lot of free damage on the enemy. There's the Pyroclasm. Good bounces from it. Are they going to be able to capitalize on that, though? We will see. Strogan, low on health, is defeated, and Noob V3, that's the last real source of damage for their team. And Dual Power not able to finish off Fancy Wolf, unfortunately. The Solar Flare that interrupted Vi up here was very important for keeping this tower from going neutral.
Yeah, that was a very, very smart play coming out from Leona. Yet again, Cersei being a very, very big menace to disruption, but also just helping out the team, being a big MVP. Executed by the minions, one of the things we don't see in Dominion. Very smart play by Fancy Wolf, but yeah, now we have a 2v1 happening over top. Dual Power Science, they're going to try to contest this windmill point.
Yeah, the damage that minions do in this game mode are higher than what is done by minions in Summoner's Rift. There's defensive garrison active on the point, which makes it resistant to capture. Pantheon coming down with the Grand Skyfall. Will this be what they need to take the fight? Science low on health. The point has become neutral, however. They catch Orianna, but she barely gets away. Dual Power 1 AA was not enough, and now she has the shield. Tries to stalk her down to connect, maybe with a power cord, but wasn't able to do so, unfortunately. Now, Sergio by himself. Orianna's still alive and can contribute to this fight. Orianna has plenty of mana and can fire over the wall. He's going to shield Sergio instead, and still alive. Orianna may recall here. Yes, and in the bottom lane, Jarvan coming down to the bottom. Noob V3 escaping through the minions for the moment is going to apply some pressure to this tower, which forces Malzahar away from the quarry, which means that J4 is going to turn around as well because he doesn't have Malz to back him up. They wanted to kill Elise and then two-man move over to the opposite side, but Elise being able to escape through the minions with Repel stopped that from happening.
Yeah, we do see Sergio now going to be daddling down with the help of the team. Zion's going to be caught out over here. Windmill going to be able to get some good damage. We're going to see the Sofanda Cox take out one, and they take out another? Dual power going to be the next target, going to be taken down from the brand. Now we have Stroke McHawk. Ooh, going to be taken down from the flag drag. It is going to be a double kill. Going to be the 3 kills on top. Going to be able to capture down on the windmill. 40 points left for the team of Amputease. Can they keep it going? Can they make that miraculous comeback? Going to try to start off right bottom.
And Metal Fenrir was able to defeat Nerdox, Malzahar, but Generic's brand is on his way down towards the bottom point and is going to be able to discourage any pushes. However, Pantheon and Elise both have stuns. Looks like they're not interested in going for it right now. They do not want to risk dying at this point, it seems. Top part of the map. However, it's going to be a 2-on-2. A support and AP versus a support and an AD. More of a tank, I guess you'd call Leona. The support, actually. And you see that with the taunt hanging out on the point. Cercio says, yeah, come and get me. Orianna with the ball set up to zone. They can't really push that. Now, Strogan, there's that back cap we talked about earlier on in the game, was able to get a lot of capture in, and there's 4 here. They might just go for the dive on this. They force J4 away. Vi is keeping Orianna and Leona busy at the upper part of the map. They may be able to get a quick neutral on the point. Metal Fenrir starts to capture. Alternates over to Sona, rotating the captures back and forth. They get the neutral, which stops the clock at 10 to 369. Is Amputease going to pull this again?
I mean, Nerdoc has done a really good job. He's going to lock down over in bottom. Newbie 3 is going to be able to pick up that kill onto the Malzahar. Maybe there is a chance, but that 300-like stance coming out from the Fancy Wolf just did so many disruptions, so much painful trading off from Amputease, and it got him down to 10 points.
Good zone from Rammus, sees that Orianna is approaching, moves over to delay, and they are able to get a neutral on that point. So clock stopped 9 to 358. It's going to be a significantly difficult game for Amputease if they want to come back from this, but you can come back from it in Dominion.
I mean, if you want to test that, game number 1 was that one Kaden now, and try to get dragged it in. Puncturing Taunt going to be used. We're going to see Strogan get around. Ooh, the missed Shockwave going to be able to get away, but Generic going to close it down with that Conflagrate.
And Noob V3 did not move down to the bottom part of the map to interrupt Malzahar, which means Malzahar is going to get the point, and I believe that's the game.
Yeah, with Metal Finger going to clean up over at the windmill. It should be game coming out of this one. GG is going to be called, and it is going to be Sofanda Cox bringing it to a game number 3.
Noob V3's Elise just needed to go down and hit Malzahar and stop him from being able to capture the Boneyard, but instead, Elise, Noob V3 made a trip up towards the northern part of the map instead. And unfortunately, Malzahar being able to capture that bottom point uncontested was what won the game for Sofanda Cox.
Yeah, and I do agree that, well, Amputease are going to have to really rethink about their team comp for game number 3. They did a really good job just doing the pickoffs when they could, and they did pick off one a few times with that Rambus, and then they defended. But they were on the back foot for quite a bit of the game. Sofanda Cox with Leona doing some amazing work. Generic as well. Tag teaming up with Cercio did a very smart job. Will they keep it going for game number 3? That is the question for the LoLPro Dominion Showdown round of 64 action. Game number 3 going to be coming out soon. Delta Ready and Gandair. Gandair, I mean, where can we find you? What avenues of social media can we see you?
Yeah, I'm Gandair from the gaming clan VatoClan, and you can follow me and my media on Twitter at VatoClan and youtube.com/VatoClan.
And yeah, we'll be back with this one over onto the LoLPro Dominion Showdown.